journey from the impact of rulers of the darkness of this world. The Bible talks about spiritual wickedness in heavenly places. So you move from principalities, you get to powers, you get to rulers of the darkness of this world. What the spiritual wickedness in high places do is that they come with a legion of demons. So after you've journeyed in the corridor of iniquity for a long time, they can add HIV/AIDS to prostitution. They can add cancer to a territory. They come with legion of demons that bring infirmities on a people. So if we enter a territory and you see that most people are stricken with illness, it's a testimony of the fact that spiritual wickedness have held them bound. You're not sick because you sinned. You're sick because a spiritual wickedness in heavenly places had put sickness on you on account of your violation. And you know, one thing that has destroyed the church is the fact that we have overemphasized the subject of the message of grace. So a believer thinks he can stand up from church, he will fornicate and come back to the altar. Meanwhile, what we don't know is that the person you fornicated with by mistake, perhaps he's operating at the level of a principality. You fornicated by mistake, but you subscribe to a higher threshold of darkness. So when you want to seek deliverance, you can't, because there are legalities in the spiritual. If it was a principality that held you bound, it will take a man of stature equivalent to a principality to dispel that. You called it a mistake, but the man you fell with has been servicing that altar for 10 years. He does that as an oblation to a devil somewhere. You do not know. You said you fornicated by mistake. It has nothing to do with mistake. So somehow in your bloodline, when you discover that you find certain things that you're battling with, you can't be set free from, it's because you collided with a ruler. You collided with a ruler. There are baptisms of dark thresholds in the spirit. So on account of that collision, the person can substitute your destiny. Perhaps you were meant to be a prophet, or God called you to be a psalmist, that when you sing, the ordinations of men over Sierra Leone will come alive. But what happens is that when you collided with that ruler, he sustained your destiny with that of an harlot. Because if you check his lineage, if you check his bloodline, he can't even count the number of ladies he has defied. On account of that defilement, he has entered into several covenants with different spirits. So when you collide with that man, you come into a pool of covenants that you have no idea of. So fornication is deeper than pleasure to the body. The devil never visits a man on account of what he has in the natural. When he came to Eve, the goal was not about a garden. He was talking about Adamic authority. So when he encountered Jesus later at the mount to tempt him, he said, bow to me. He said the authority over the earth had been given to him, and it is true. He received it from Adam on account of disobedience. You will think it's a fruit. It has nothing to do with a fruit. He's looking for something that has eternal relevance. So the bargain you had on the bed of immorality, that bargain was deeper than pleasure. It was a prophetic destiny you sold. Perhaps the Bible said that the Lord looked for a man that will stand in the gap, that will not destroy the land. The only hope of Sierra Leone was you, but you bargained it on the bed of immorality. So God is without a hope. If you look at this scripture, Isaiah chapter 60, if you go back to 59, the Bible said that because the Lord looked and he didn't find any intercessor, he said his arm brought him salvation. He said his righteousness sustained him. Meanwhile, according to the chart of creation, God was not meant to bring salvation to himself. According to the law of territory, spirit is not operated. God can't operate except the man permits him. So what happens is that by reason of your disobedience, you couldn't sustain the capacity to bring deliverance to God. So God, his hand, the Bible said his hand had to save him. That's the state of a church he was talking about. Can we give me that scripture, Isaiah chapter 59, so that we'll look at it? Let's read it. I think 59. Let's look at it. Verse what? Go to verse 6. 16, sorry. That's the state of the church. He said, and he saw that there was no man, and wondered that there was no intercessor. So God looked upon a territory and there was none to say restore. He said that therefore his arm brought him salvation. What you see here is a violation of the protocol of God. The same way if the arm of God should bring him salvation, the same way the implication of Moses striking the rock had an implication on the destiny of Jesus, and the Lord had to strike him twice. That's the same thing happening here. So God had to bring himself salvation. Meanwhile, it is not given to spirit to bring salvation to mankind. The Bible said by his one man sin came into the earth, and the justification of that nation will still come by one man. That's why Jesus came. So the Bible said the Lord looked through. So it is possible that he will look upon a church as mighty as this one looks. God can't find one intercessor. There's no standing. So the Bible said his hand brought him salvation and his righteousness sustained him. That's the state of the church. So the pews in the church can be full, but the seats of authority in the spirit are empty. Did you not read about Jesus? He knew that ministry was deeper than what he was doing on the earth. So he will be walking the streets of Galilee. He will tell you the Son of Man which is in heaven. He was on earth. So you must have the ability for your priesthood to pierce the clouds. You do priesthood from heaven to earth, not from earth to heaven. It's when you're standing with God that you can bring legislation here. When Isaiah said before God who I stand, he was not talking by himself. He was talking about a council he stood with in the spirit. So he said before God who I stand, there shall be no rain or dew. It has to do with your standing in the spirit first. It has nothing to do with activity. But this is what we have reduced church to. That's the impact of rulers. That's the impact of rulers. That's what the Apostle Paul counseled us. He said, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. He knows that for you to attempt to lift up your head, he said you should be mindful of these things. It will take strength for you to stand. That's why anybody who is standing at a time like this is truly helped of God, because it takes warfare to stand. If you ask our parents standing here, they will tell you the battles they have fought to keep their consecration. Because everything within our ecosystem is programmed to fight the life of God. If we get into the banking sector, everything there is programmed to fight the life of God. So as a believer, you can't survive there. If you get into politics, everything is programmed to fight the life of God. So in our dispensation, you don't need to look for darkness. Darkness looks for you. That's why the Bible said it is gross darkness. The reason is because when a principality lays hold on a territory, the impact of what happens to that territory is in double measures upon the people that are inhabited in that territory. So he said that darkness will cover the earth. You will think it will remain there, but when he went further to talk about the people, he said gross darkness. Because spirits are obsessed about territories. When they lay hold on territories, they know that they can talk to the territory and you will be commanded to obey what they are saying. The easiest way to bring government over a territory, the same way if I want to talk here, I need a piece of land. If I come to Sierra Leone and I want to talk to somebody, I will have to buy a piece of land for me to claim ownership anyway. If I'm talking, I'll be talking because I have a stake. There is a stake. He said gross darkness. And it is only the believer that does not know that the church is folding up. One of the greatest deception that has happened to the church now is the fact that the believer thinks that darkness is as careless as the church is. So nobody sees the need to wait on God. Nobody sees the need to stand for God anymore. Don't mistake it. Number does not equal stature in the spirit. The Bible spoke concerning Abraham and Lot. When they wanted to destroy Sodom, God approached the city to destroy it, Abraham came and negotiated with God until he stopped at 10. That means the number of people that were required to bring salvation to Sodom were 10 people. He still did not find. So the salvation of that nation, Sodom, was tied to 10 people. Number does not equal stature in the spirit. If our ranks are checked, how many people can take a city? You should be able to come into our midst and casually you meet a man that can bring the counsel of God to you. That's the place where we are in the spirit. The reason conferences like this are organized is for us to go back to the foundational issues and to ensure that the light of God beams over his church again.